Clara Mason stood at her bedroom window, captivated. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the grounds of the old Lancaster estate. She had just rented the carriage house, drawn to its quaint charm and the solitude promised by the small village of Hollow Creek. But it was the woods behind the estate that truly captivated her. They were ancient, a sprawling tapestry of oaks and pines, their leafy canopy thick and impenetrable. Clara, a writer always in search of inspiration, felt an immediate pull towards their mystery. The air was still, unusually so, as if the woods themselves held their breath. The silence was unnerving, broken only by the occasional caw of a crow. Clara shivered, a prickle of unease dancing down her spine. Even in the fading light, the woods seemed to exude an almost palpable darkness. Yet Clara was not afraid. She felt an inexplicable allure, a sense of intrigue that whispered of untold stories hidden beneath the trees. She imagined the secrets the woods held, tales whispered on the wind, lost to time. Each rustle of leaves seemed to beckon her closer, promising inspiration and a world unseen. Tomorrow, she decided, she would explore them. Tomorrow she would unravel their mysteries. That night, sleep came fitfully, plagued by vivid dreams. Clara found herself lost in the heart of the woods, the trees looming over her like gnarled giants. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. A thick fog rolled in, obscuring her path, closing in like a suffocating blanket. She stumbled blindly through the undergrowth, her heart pounding in her chest. The silence was broken by whispers, faint and indistinct, seeming to come from the trees themselves. They spoke her name, their voices filled with an unsettling urgency. Fear coiled in her stomach, cold and sharp. Then she saw her. A young woman dressed in a flowing white gown stood silently beneath a towering oak. Her back was to Clara, her long dark hair cascading down her back. Clara tried to call out to her, but her voice caught in her throat. The woman turned, her face obscured by the shadows. Clara gasped, bolting upright in bed. The dream evaporated, leaving behind a residue of fear and a strange sense of familiarity. Who was the woman in the woods, and why did her silent plea resonate so deeply within Clara's soul? The next morning dawned bright and clear, the sun chasing away the shadows of the night. Determined to shake off the unease of her dream, Clara set out for the woods. As she stepped onto the overgrown path, the air seemed to cool, the sunlight filtering weakly through the dense canopy. Despite the sunshine, the woods held a certain stillness, a hushed expectancy that sent a shiver down her spine. The dream lingered at the edge of her thoughts, its fear a palpable presence. Still, she ventured deeper, drawn by an irresistible curiosity. The path wound its way through the trees, leading her further and further into the heart of the woods. As she walked, Clara noticed a change in the atmosphere. The air grew heavy, laden with an oppressive silence. The whispers, faint at first, returned. They swirled around her, seeming to emanate from the trees themselves. They spoke of sorrow, of loss, of a pain so deep it echoed through the ages. In the days that followed, Clara found herself drawn back to the woods again and again. Their unsettling beauty both captivated and terrified her. She wrote feverishly, trying to capture the essence of their mystery, the whispers that haunted her thoughts. She knew the villagers thought her peculiar, this city woman with her fascination for the woods they avoided. But Clara couldn't stay away. The woods held her captive, their secrets whispering to her soul. Each night she dreamed of the woman in white, her sorrowful eyes pleading for something Clara couldn't comprehend. The whispers grew stronger, their urgency increasing. They seemed to beckon her, guiding her toward a destination unknown. One evening, as the sun began its descent, Clara stumbled upon a break in the trees. A sense of foreboding washed over her, stopping her in her tracks. She had never ventured this far into the woods before. Yet she felt an undeniable pull, a sense that she was meant to be here. With a deep breath, she stepped into the clearing. It was a command now, not just a call. Against her better judgment, she stepped forward, following the sound. The trees seemed to part for her, guiding her deeper into the forest. The further she went, the darker it became, until the light of day was nothing more than a distant memory. She reached a small, forgotten cemetery hidden deep within the woods. The tombstones were old and weathered, the names etched into them long since faded. In the center of the cemetery stood a single gravestone, larger than the rest. Clara approached it cautiously, her flashlight flickering as she shone it on the stone. The name on the gravestone was still legible, Amelia Lancaster. Below the name was a date, 1863, and a single word, beloved. Clara's breath caught in her throat. Amelia Lancaster had been the daughter of the original owners of the estate. According to local legend, she had disappeared one night, never to be seen again. Some said she had run away, while others believed she had been taken by the woods. As Clara stood before the grave, the temperature dropped even further, and a thick fog began to roll in. The voice called her name again, this time from right behind her. She spun around, her flashlight beam cutting through the fog, but she saw nothing. Then, out of the mist, a figure appeared. It was a woman, her face pale and gaunt, her eyes hollow and filled with sorrow. She wore a tattered dress that looked like it had once been beautiful, now torn and dirty. The woman's eyes locked onto Clara's, and she felt a wave of sadness wash over her. "Help me," the woman whispered, her voice barely audible over the sound of Clara's own pounding heart. Clara took a step back, fear and pity warring within her. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice trembling. The woman didn't answer. She simply pointed to the gravestone, her eyes pleading. Understanding dawned on Clara. This was Amelia Lancaster, the ghost of the woods. She had been trapped here for over a century, her spirit unable to rest. Clara didn't know how she could help, but she knew she had to try. Like this video and subscribe to Short Tales. Shop for film and cinema essentials. Links are in the description.